Hello everyone, and welcome to week 2. By now, you should be starting to get settled into the class and also acquainted with your fellow class members. Listen, this week we're going to be tackling 2 unique objectives. First off, we want to examine the history and the geography of Jesus and Paul. So we'll be looking at the land of Jerusalem as well as the Mediterranean world that Paul lived in. So it's going to be some very interesting, fascinating studies as you read Burge. In addition to that, we're also going to be tackling and doing a survey over a subject that I hold very dear. I love and I am very interested in-depth study in the intertestamental period. So we're going to be studying the intertestamental period, and we're also going to be discussing ways that this particular period influenced the way that the New Testament is understood. In seminary, there was a famous saying in my hermeneutics as well as homiletic classes, and they said that context is our friend. Well, this week we'll be getting a bit of context. We'll be learning about the geographical as well as cultural, linguistic, and cultural way of life as it relates to the land of Jerusalem and the Roman Empire. So we'll be looking at chapter 3 and chapter 4 in Burge. Chapter 3 in Burge discusses the world of Jesus and his Jewish homeland. This particular focus will be on the land and geography of Israel, as well as some of the major players and voices in first century Jerusalem. Chapter 4, we're going to tackle the Mediterranean world of the Apostle Paul. So we'll look at the geography of the Mediterranean world, also look at Paul's journeys throughout this particular world, and we'll also look at the people groups of the Mediterranean Empire, or the Roman Empire, I'm sorry. And we'll look at Roman civilization, the societal orders of Roman civilization. We'll look at the government of the empire, religion, as well as philosophy and rhetoric in the Greco-Roman society. So this will be a very contextual second week where we'll get a lot of context that will help us to understand some of the happenings during the time of Jesus and even some of the culture during the time of Paul. People don't understand, but the intertestamental period, understanding the intertestamental period will give you a greater context and a greater depth for understanding some of the cultural ethos in the New Testament books and New Testament Gospels. You'll also begin to understand through looking at the intertestamental period of why people responded in certain respects to the gospel in certain ways. Some people were looking for a political Messiah, and were hoping and praying that Jesus would free them from the political, from the social economic bondages of the Roman Empire. So this study will be greatly educational and help you to have a greater depth of understanding of the correlation between the happenings of the intertestamental period, the rise of Hellenism, and its effect on the New Testament Gospels and Pauline letters as we see it, as well as the other letters that we find in the New Testament Gospels. New Testament Gospels as well as the New Testament letters. So in addition to reading those particular chapters 3 and 4, you're also going to listen to lectures 1 through 3 from Bach, Intro to the Second Temple Period. Go ahead and access those through the Lesson 2 Resources folder. But you'll find that these lessons are very informative in helping you to provide a greater level of context as it relates to the Second Temple Period. After you do such, go ahead and do the discussion board for week 2. Week 2 will be tackling a very unique question. This question will be, how did Christianity respond to the religious pluralism in the Roman world, and how might this response help the current Christian community in today's context? You'll find as you do research in the intertestamental period as well as the world of Jesus and the world of Paul, that the pluralism that they faced, in certain respects, we're facing a similar kind of pluralism. So how might we be able to relate to the people groups and the apostle Jesus Christ who lived during the time when pluralism reigned supreme? How might we today communicate and minister the gospel of Jesus Christ in a time where the gospel is in such a hostile environment. We are understanding that the world system as we know it is very antagonistic to the gospel. And even in America, we are living in a post-Christian time. So we'll find some commonalities and some correlations between the two times. Quite interesting. In addition to that, go ahead and complete the quiz for quiz 2 that deals with the intertestamental period. So all of this right here will give you enough work to do this week, but it will also be a very exciting time because you will have some very informative journeys where you'll be able to look at different contexts and learn about the geography of the New Testament and the times of the intertestamental period that predated the New Testament, and correlations and the effects that the happenings of the intertestamental period had on the New Testament as we know it. So settle on in and go ahead and just begin to explore. If you have any questions, guys, please feel free to hit me up on email or give me a phone call, or we can even Skype as well if you guys would like. I am always trying to be available for you guys. Whenever you need me, just reach out to me and we can have some conversation if you need some assistance in any way in week 2. So, guys, I look forward to reading your discussion board post as well as your interactions with each other in the discussion board forum. So, have a good week.